What's good, Chiefs Kingdom? It's Tuesday, 6 o'clock Kingdom time. That means it's time for the Kingdom Cast. It's your boys, Scott, Bo, and Nick here with you. We're going to talk some Chiefs news. We're going to talk some Steelers beatdown. We're going to talk some Cincinnati Bengals, big game coming up here this weekend. A lot of playoff implications, AFC seeding scenarios, things like that on the line for both teams, really. So we're going to get into that. If this is your first time joining us here in the Kingdom Cast, or if you haven't decided to click that like and subscribe button yet and turn on those notifications, no better time than the present. Why put off till tomorrow what you can get done today? We'd really appreciate it. It would help out the show a lot, help spread the word. If you enjoy the show as well, if you want to tell friends, family, we'd appreciate that. We would also love to have some comments, questions. If you're watching here and you want to be part of the show, we'd be glad to have you. So Chiefs are here. Oh, and you can follow us on all of our social media platforms as well as at the Kingdom Cast. We're starting to grow, get some more followers, meeting some cool people, seeing some good content out there on social media. So really appreciate everybody, new friends we're making here. And we're just excited. We're getting to the home stretch of the season here, playoff time. No better time to join in and jump on the bandwagon and be part of the show than now. So, gentlemen, how are you guys doing today? Nick?
I'm doing great, man. I'm on vacation still. Just went down to Rally House, chunked down some money on some new gear. I was looking for the new AFC West gear, but they don't quite have that yet. So we bought some other things. They were also out of Travis Kelce jerseys. I was going to pick up one of those with some money I got from Christmas. But other than that, man, just still riding the high from six division titles in a row. I'm excited for this Bengals game. Just it's an exciting time of year for NFL fans if your team is doing well. What about you, Bo?
Yeah, man, still on a high. There's fewer things greater than a Chiefs win, and there's even fewer things greater than a Chiefs blowout. It's just been great. I love watching everybody changing their minds on TV, like, oh, the Chiefs are the greatest team in football now, or, a couple of weeks ago they were broken. They're done. Can they even make the playoffs? Now we're the only team that's secured a playoff spot. So, yeah, I feel great. How about you, Scott?
Yeah, I'm feeling good too. Chiefs are in first place. They're in control of their own destiny with 2 games left. That's where you want to be this time of year. You don't want to be dependent on any help. And, yeah, I find it so entertaining and thoroughly enjoyable that all of these, they might as well do these national TV, the NFL shows at the beach, the way these guys are flip-flopping, Chiefs are washed. Chiefs are done. Patrick Mahomes is broken. The league has figured out Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense. Patrick Mahomes can't get it done without his weapons. We're just seeing all of these things that we've been hearing all season just totally get ripped to pieces and thrown in the wastebasket here at the end of the season. So I think it's great. You just can't ask for, as a fan, to be in a better position than the Chiefs are in right now. 2 games to go, one against a division opponent that hasn't beaten you in 6 years, and the Broncos, and a game, albeit on the road, against an up-and-coming team, the Cincinnati Bengals. But they've been vulnerable this year. That's not like we're going on the road against a powerhouse team in like the NFC. It's like we're going on the road to Green Bay or something like that. So 2 games to go in the driver's seat. That's where you want to be. We start off here. We got some news and some notes and some things from this week. First of all, I don't know if you saw today, but it looks like Travis Kelce and Nick Bolton and some of these guys are going to be cleared off COVID and put back on the active roster. I guess Travis was technically on the active roster this last game just in case he was able to clear protocol. But it's looking like we're going to get those guys back. Good to see them get back. Glad to see everybody's healthy.
Not that we need them, but
no, yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah. Not that we need
Whereas
them.
Kelsey's more like a nice to have,
Yeah, it's like a Ferrari or something. You don't need one, but it's pretty damn nice to have one. And so, well, you guys, that's great news going into a big game.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wanted to talk about COVID and missing Travis, and Tyreek was in the game, but he only played, I want to say, maybe a quarter of the snaps or less. Chiefs last week too had defensive. I mean, you could say they had the most important starter at each level of the defense out against the Chargers for that game. They've been able to go through the COVID woes here the last couple weeks and go 2-0. That's huge.
Yeah,
That's huge. You saw what happened to the Browns. They lost to the damn Raiders with a division title in their grasp, mostly because of COVID. So to be missing key guys, all pro guys, Pro Bowl guys, coming down the stretch in these last two games, to be able to go 2-0 and win the division, it's just huge. How do you feel about that, Bo?
Yeah, like you said, it's just huge. It's crucial for us. It was crucial for us to get into the playoffs. It's still crucial for us to get that number one seed. So coveted and, absolutely crucial since only one team gets it this year. But the COVID thing has me worried, man. Like, all these guys could test positive again. And then, the ones that aren't vaccinated are out 10 days and just as worrisome. So, I mean, it kind of just feels like a wild gamble a little bit going into these next couple of weeks. But I feel great about our team. I mean, like we showed, like I was just kind of joking around, like we need them. Like I would love to have our full team, but like, man, we're looking good even when we're hurt. So I like where we're at. I feel great. Cincinnati's a tough team, but man, I like the way we look, way better than anything the Bengals could put together.
Right.
Yeah, I got a couple of things. I mean, I think one, it really shows how good our coaching staff is, and that they could put that together, not knowing exactly who was going to play, having one of your best offensive weapons out, the other one really taken out as a non-factor because Tyreek Hill only had a couple of catches in that game. He obviously wasn't a huge part of the game plan intentionally, but they did get him out there for some plays. So it was great to see them be able to do that. There's been a lot of talk about trying to take some shine away from the Chiefs' wins because some key players are out on other teams. It was, Cowboys, you didn't play the Cowboys at full strength because, this person was out or that person was out. That's the reason you won that game. And, this and that, like, okay, well, the Chiefs were still able to win when it was their turn to get bit by the COVID bug. And they won a huge road game that secured their division and won a huge home game against a team with a then winning record. And a future Hall of Fame quarterback. I know that the Steelers are in decline, but they had a winning record coming in, and we were able to just throttle them to continue, holding on to that one seed. So I think that was a huge win for our coaching staff and for those other players. And then the other thing that I liked about it was, we kind of got a glimpse of, everybody is said, well, once Travis Kelce and once the Mahomes contract kicks in and, he's not going to be this or he's not going to be that. And you saw Patrick Mahomes be able to sit in the pocket and deal to guys that are not marquee names that, you see if you went to another town where, you wouldn't see people wearing a Byron Pringle jersey. And so you were able to kind of get a glimpse into the future of maybe post Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Kansas City Chiefs, because, the long and the short of it is that Mahomes is, hopefully going to outlast those guys. And we got to see that, the future is bright in Kansas City with Mahomes, regardless of who he's throwing to. So it was an interesting week, and it was good to just see him go out and be like if Travis Kelce's out, I mean, we don't give a shit. We're still going to kick your ass. So.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, just to get through your COVID games there with your depleted roster and, again, have all pro and Pro Bowler guys out and still get wins and stay at the top of the division, the AFC West, that's just huge. Kudos to the coaches. Kudos to the personnel. guys like our guy here, Boodle, in there making plays. Bring guys up off the practice squad, and they can hang and they can play with the big boys when the lights are on. So, yeah, just huge for the team to go through that. Huge to get TMFK back for this game against the Bengals. Huge to get Nick Bolton. We talked about him. Only player going into this last week's set of games with a 100 tackles and 10 tackles for loss. So huge, getting healthy, peaking at the right time, just where you want to be. Another little bit of news, kind of like a milestone thing. Patrick Mahomes sets the all-time passing touchdowns record at Arrowhead Stadium. He went by Trent Green, Chiefs legend. I always thought that guy did not get enough respect when he was with us and Dick Vermeil and some of those teams we had, because our defense was bad and we didn't win playoff games. But if you look at his numbers, he was up there with Peyton Manning and some of these other guys with 4,000 yards and 25 and touchdown passes. And the guy was a baller. Trent Green was awesome. It's kind of a shame to think about maybe what his career could have been like if he didn't get that injury and then get replaced by Kurt Warner there in St. Louis, what could have been for Trent Green. And Trent Green's a stand-up guy. He's kept his home here in Kansas City, raises his family here, is a good ambassador for the city, does, CBS play-by-play, things like that, games, is an awesome analyst as well. So good for Patrick Mahomes. You're sitting here and the guy's been here for 4 years and he's just like rewriting every record that you could possibly have, not just for NFL stuff, but for Chiefs and whatnot there. So congrats to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. I was reading today that he only needs like 460 yards now or something like that to have the most yards all time for the first 5 years of a quarterback's starting history. And he only played 1 game his rookie season. So it's like kind of like he did it in 4 years where everybody got 5 kind of thing. So yeah, guy is just an animal.
Right. And the stat, looks like we got Nick back. So we're just talking about Patrick Mahomes. I know you probably heard us there before you cut out, but Patrick Mahomes setting the Arrowhead touchdown passes record, passing Trent Green. So
and he did it in like 13 less games. Right. Which is incredible.
Almost the whole season.
Right. So
and he sits out the last game of every year and doesn't play because we've got the seat blocked up.
And those Trent Green teams were known for just bombing people and scoring a lot of points.
Right.
Now I know that he had Priest Holmes who had a lot of rushing touchdowns. So it could have been more, but a lot of those they were trying to get, feed the ball to Priest. They had that play where he'd trail out and just walk it in every time it was money. So, it's incredible. It's a testament to what the Chiefs and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes have built here and just continue to do to dominate. And it's a lot of fun to watch every Sunday. So.
Yeah, and another little cool Reed fact is he became the second most winning coach in Chiefs history, also with that win, right? Surpassed Schottenheimer with 102, just behind Stram by like 20, I think, 22 more wins. So season and a third, right?
Yep.
Have it.
Right. Yep. Patrick Mahomes too. I think he became the first quarterback to win at least 11 games in his first 4 seasons as a starter.
Jeez.
We saw the stat. We talked about it last week. I saw it going back around the internet, although it changed a little bit. So I don't know what maybe they threw in January or something there, but they're saying he's 26-1 as a starter the last 3 or 4 seasons in the months of November, December, and January.
So I have 26-0. I don't know where.
Yeah, I know. See, that's I keep seeing 26-0. I keep seeing 26-1. I know they said it was 22-0 during the broadcast for November and December. They didn't throw the January in there, which is playoff games and maybe a game or two of the regular season that leaks over into
the
there.
Graphic I includes postseason though. So I'm just I don't know.
Regardless, it's fucking money.
It's phenomenal.
To quote
the
Patrick
football
Mahomes
minutes.
on the broadcast, great fucking job.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, kudos to him. The dude's unbelievable. He's a freak. You don't need us telling you that, though. If you watch the Chiefs, you know how good Patrick Mahomes is. So,
Yeah.
let's talk about this game where some of these records were set, and Chiefs win the division. Obviously, we kind of talked about it in a quick little episode that we did there after the game against the Steelers. Once we found out the Chargers had lost to the Texans, great game. You know, it's really kind of hard to tell what the Steelers are. They've got a good coach. They're hovering around 500. They've lost some games, won some games, you know, against good and bad opponents. Kind of surprised some people. Also had a tie against the Lions in there. You know, but what kind of like mitigates that factor of whether how good the competition is. We had a bunch of our backups in the game, and you saw Chad Henne coming in with basically the entire fourth quarter left to play, and guys like Boodle out there making plays. And so maybe it's not the highest level of competition, but we also didn't have, you know, the A team out there necessarily. They were still able to get it done. Andy Reid said after the game that was one of Patrick Mahomes' best performances of his career. It doesn't have the eye-popping, jaw-dropping stats that you're kind of accustomed to seeing from him in some of these big games where it's 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. But the dude was over 250 with 3 touchdown passes, and he only played 3 quarters against what was viewed as an above-average pass defense and above-average defense. So, you know, it's a big win, and it was an impressive performance, regardless of what you think of the Steelers, because they were up 30-0 at one point in that game.
Yeah.
And 36-10 doesn't even tell the story of just how uneven and what a mismatch that contest was, what that game was. So, just what are your overall thoughts now that you've had a little bit of time to think about the game against the Steelers, Nick?
The offensive line dominated that game. You know, I know that we had like a 3rd down sack that we took in scoring position, but I'm a fan of Brian Baldinger does these Baldy's breakdowns. He was showing a play where they literally cleared the entire Steelers defensive line off of the Arrowhead logo, which is gigantic if you've ever been on the field, and it was a giant run lane. The touchdown pass to Pringle, I think Mahomes had, you know, in a goal line situation, 7 seconds before he had to move to try to find, you know, an open guy, and he was just sitting there. So hats off to the offensive line in this game. I think that unit has been kind of up and down this year, and to see them really start to gel, especially at this time of year, you're talking about December football, when that's when the tough teams that can smash people really are dominant. We had some, you know, fourth down at the goal line that we went for, and we handed it off to the fullback, and they cleared the path for him to get the first down, almost a touchdown. I love that play where they just do the quick turnaround handoff to the fullback. It seems like it works every time. So that really stood out to me in this game, was the way that the offensive line unit had come together. So Mahomes was great. You know, he was patient in the pocket. I think that this was, you know, kind of the best combination of Patrick Mahomes that we can see, where he's patient, he's in the pocket, he takes the dump downs, but, you know, he also has enough of that Mahomes magic. So it was a really fun game to watch. If you're a Chiefs fan, if you're a Steelers fan, you probably like wanted to crawl in a hole after that. But those are my thoughts here. So
yeah, I echo your sentiments exactly, man. Like the O-line stood out for sure. Like you were saying, on that Byron Pringle touchdown, they gave him 2 weeks to throw that ball. He could have thrown it to any receiver he wanted to. He had so much time. They could have gotten open. That O-line has just been tremendous. For me, what stood up was we've kind of been talking about it. Let me go back to the O-line real quick. We had talked about this too. We kind of knew that going at the beginning of the year, they were going to struggle. It was a retooled, completely new O-line. We were just saying, like, man, give them some games, give them some time to get their communication down, all the signals down, and they'll step up. And man, have they. But then the other thing that stood up to me was all the other receivers stepping up. That's what we've said in the past that needs to happen for this team to shine, right? And like they really did. We saw everybody from Pringle, Hardman, Robinson, not only catching the damn ball, which has been the most frustrating aspect of this season, I think, but, making some plays afterwards too, like breaking tackles, getting some yaks. Just excellent performance by all those guys stepping up, all the other receivers that we kind of haven't heard too much from this year.
We got a new watcher here, Chiefs lover, says, I pray to God London falls in the draft. So,
maybe.
Probably not to where we're going to be picking. Hopefully it's 32nd, right?
Yeah, I don't think they fall 32 spots.
But glad to have you watching the show. Thanks for the comment.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, welcome to the Kingdom Cast, Chiefs lover. Love that name, obviously. And I think they're called viewers, not watchers, Nick, but that's okay. You talk about
some kind of word guy?
Offensive line. What's that?
So what am I, some kind of word guy?
Yeah, I guess a linguist, I think is what that's called.
One of those languagers, huh?
Yeah.
Let's just go with the alien over there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you talk about the line, just to kind of, go a little bit further on that point. That hole you were talking about, you always hear that, you could drive a truck through that hole. You could have fucking taken an airplane off through that hole. Like, that's how big that hole was. I don't even know if you call it a hole. It was so large that maybe you have to come up with another crevice or a canyon.
We should say that you or I could run through that hole.
Crazy good on their part. And two, I saw replays. Creed Humphrey, the center, who's been outstanding, one of the highest graded rookie players, offense or defense for that matter, but certainly offensive rookies this year by some of these PFF grades and other sites that track that kind of things and try to, put stats on players. Dude's crushing it. Cam Hayward is one of the better defensive linemen in the league, and Creed Humphrey was just throwing him to the ground and pancake blocking him and just mauling the guy, man. And that's Cam Hayward, okay? That's not some guy that was out there because the starter was on the COVID list for the Steelers. That's a big name. You ask anybody that watches any amount of football, and 9 out of 10 people are going to know who Cam Hayward is on the Steelers. So that dude obviously was crushing. The offensive line was crushing. Yeah, we got Doug there. Lives down in Oklahoma. OU, baby.
Creed Humphrey.
I thought it was OU something else down there. I'm not going to repeat what they say there. But thanks for watching. Thanks for sending in the comments. Creed Humphrey's been a beast. He won't get Offensive Rookie of the Year probably because they'll want to give it to a skill position player. That's the way those awards go. It's kind of like MVP.
Yeah.
It's going to go to the quarterback, whoever the best quarterback is, regardless. So there's some people saying Jonathan Taylor maybe should be getting that award this year, but to me, it's going to come down to like Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady.
I was kind of bummed he got snubbed for a Pro Bowl selection, even though. I mean,
yeah, he did.
He's crushing it.
Hey, man, the hatred of left-handed people in this society is real.
It's real.
I can attest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the Pro Bowl's made up anyway. I don't even know why I care.
Right. The Pro Bowl, man, it's not like I've had this discussion and this debate with people before, but the Pro Bowl's not like the best player ever. That's the all-pro lists usually that come out. Right. It's name recognition. It's a popularity contest as much as it is a best player at each position. Yeah, money grab. And you got guys on there. Creed Humphrey, he's just not a household name yet. But the dude's got an argument as the best center in football as a rookie.
Well, what I think is funny is I think that Creed Humphrey, I think he led the fan voting.
Yeah, I think so too.
Not only, I mean, I think he got more than Kelsey's brother even, and I know that that's an NFC deal, but like I think that he led in fan voting, so that means that the other, the coaches and stuff that were voting didn't vote him in, which I think is odd. But
And players.
yeah. But I mean, I just like I think what you said is spot on. Like I don't really look at a Pro Bowl selection. It's not like a prestige thing like it used to mean that you were the best person at your position. Honey Badger had a great season a couple of years ago and got snubbed, right? So it's just not always. I mean, it's somewhat of a popularity contest.
I look at it just as like credentials on the end of like somebody's name. You know what I mean? I have zero interest in the Pro Bowl. I don't even watch it. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't tell you who's won it any of the years past. But what did pop up on my YouTube feed the other day was like the QB competitions that they used to have with like Troy Aikman and Brett Favre, like doing like longest ball and accuracy and stuff like that. I don't know why they don't do stuff like that anymore. I might pay attention if there was like, something on the line and competitions where all these, so-called player or star players show up and actually show their skills off a little bit. But yeah. Anyway, we can talk about something else.
No. Yeah. So the offensive line play stood out to me, and just guys coming in that you weren't familiar with making plays, kind of like Bosa. But you're familiar with Pringle and some of these guys. There's some dudes out there like Boodle that was out there making plays, and Dorian O'Daniel was out there sticking people. The Chiefs flashed some depth on the roster in that game. Elliott Fry, the kicker, came in. He missed a field goal, but it was windy conditions. That was a longer one. I would say that was 40-plus yards. Missed the extra point, but buttkicker.com. I mean, he misses. He's good for one of those. It seems like every other game.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he scored more points than the Steelers. So
yeah, he came out. Yeah, he came out and he beat the Steelers single-handedly. So good to see some depth on the roster. Good to see some guys come in and that next man up. You always hear people say that, but it's a lot easier to say next man up than necessarily to actually have the next man in line come in and play at a high level. So good for them. Good for Patrick Mahomes. The dude's a wizard. He's the best quarterback in football. And I know people want to say, oh, well, Joe Burrow threw for 500 yards last week, or, oh, well, Aaron Rodgers has more touchdown pass. He hasn't been facing the same adversity, I don't think, that Patrick Mahomes has, with guys dropping passes, with teams just putting two or three guys deep and just daring you to throw the ball into deep coverage. The yards are down. Maybe the touchdown pass numbers are down a little bit this year for the guy, but he's still engineering the team. He's still got him in the driver's seat for the 1 seed. And I just don't. I wouldn't pick anybody else at the quarterback position in the NFL. And I'm not saying as a Chiefs fan, if there was somebody better, I would say that. I mean, I'm not considering trying to say that Jonathan Taylor's not the best running back in the NFL because I'm not a Colts fan, right? I mean, he is. So,
I mean, you're going to get no argument here, obviously. But what's interesting is, like, he's not even mentioned in the MVP race at all. And, like, granted, he's thrown some interceptions this season, but like, look what he's done since that 3-4 turnaround. Like, you're telling me that guy's not the most valuable player in the NFL right now? Who else would you rather have on your team to have that kind of turnaround, right? Like Jonathan Taylor? No, he's not going to do that for you, right? Like,
and with the drops, like we talk about that all season, catch the damn ball has been the slogan since about week 2 on this show. Other quarterbacks haven't had to deal with stuff like that. And Chiefs started 3-4. They would have been 1-6 without Patrick Mahomes with the way the defense was playing in those games. So the dude kept us in here. Yeah, Chiefs lovers back here with another good comment. And let's not forget Burrow throw 500 on an injured Ravens defense. Yeah, that Ravens defense
depleted.
That's not the 2000 Ravens defense with Ed Reed and Ray Lewis and some of these other guys out there.
Yeah.
That defense can be had. Patrick Mahomes had a big day against that defense as well. So good point there. You just, anybody that says that they would take any quarterback in the league over Patrick Mahomes is just not being honest, or, is just trying to get clicks or trying to get views or be controversial at this point. So, Nick, I think you're muted.
Yeah, he's muted there.
I said, yeah, it's hot takes. Sorry about that, guys. But you're seeing some of those start to turn. I mean, Good Morning Football, like Peter Schrager was like, we want to crown Herbert, but he's got a losing record as a starter, and it's like, it's the point is to win games, right? I mean,
what would you crown him for? What has he even done?
Yeah. Go ahead and crown the ass if you want to.
Dude, he's just. This is what happens. Like, you saw it with the Chiefs the first year they went to the Super Bowl there, and they were everybody's darling and Patrick Mahomes. And now they're getting into that hated territory where they're winning every year, and they've had the AFC Championship game at home 3 years straight, and people want to see somebody new. People don't like to see the same teams win over and over unless it's your team. So you're just starting to see some of that in the national narrative, and people want change, and people want to talk about somebody different. And when you hear it all the time, people say you're going from being the hunter to the hunted, right? And so that just comes with the territory of being the best and winning everything and setting all the records and just everybody. Tom Brady was a darling at first. And look, this guy comes in off the bench as a backup role and wins the Super Bowl, and now he's won 2 in a row, and now people can't stand the guy, and people fucking hated the Patriots. And it was always every time the Patriots would have a bad loss, oh, what's wrong with the Patriots? Is this dynasty over? Is Tom Brady washed? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's just, the Chiefs are getting into that territory now. That's all that is.
Right where we belong.
It's good news for Chiefs fans when you start seeing that stuff. That's right. What that means.
We're setting up shop in Haterville. We're setting up a skyrise penthouse luxury apartment there. Get used to it.
Yeah, Doug, get back in here. We'll see how Burrow holds up with Chris Jones and crew bringing the heat. Yeah, we'll talk about that. I got some stats on that very issue, that topic right there for when we get to the Bengals matchup here not too long. So, yeah, just thrash the Steelers, and we said it, and I talked about it in the episode we did right after the game there on Sunday. I hate the Steelers. So anytime you can whip up on the Steelers, that's a beautiful thing in my book. Kind of last thing I wanted to talk about too, though, with the Steelers is how bad does Ben Roethlisberger look right now, man?
Oh man, did that look bad for that guy?
Oh, he had a terrible interception where he just overthrew the guy he was open. He overthrew him by 3 yards, it looked like, and Charvarius Ward just kind of had to jump up and catch it. Then that play where the defensive line just Jaren Reed busted up the middle and ran into him. He was standing there and he was like, and the ball like fell out of his hand and he stood there. And
we got a couple of those here. Hold on, I got it.
It reminded me of that scene in Little Giants when the kid with the glasses gets the ball and he runs behind the ref like, blow the whistle, blow the whistle.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
Yeah, bad play by Big Ben.
But he wasn't even supported by his team. I mean, even when he wasn't panic doing that, when Roethlisberger did make a completion, he had his receiver literally just drop the ball while running. Like, you know what I mean? It was just a comedy of errors for that team.
Yeah, that's, add an insult to injury, I think is the saying, kind of goes there. You got your ass kicked and and I'm sorry. Kicking the field goal down 30-0 is embarrassing if you're a Steelers fan and if you're a Steelers organization. That is all that is to try to save face and not get shut out. And to me, that's more embarrassing than getting shut out, kicking a field goal down 30-0.
Damn, that's a great picture right there.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I mean, it was way overthrown, though. I mean, that wasn't even close.
That's not close at all. Yeah, right?
No, yeah. I mean,
he almost overthrew Ward.
I mean, it was a great play by
Andre the Giant. Couldn't have caught that pass.
I mean, and then he like OBJ'd it on the way down.
Right.
But
defense was killing. They were getting in. They were getting the heat. They were getting stops on 4th down against the Steelers. They were getting turnovers. This defense they're legit.
Yep.
You can't anymore say it's opponent or this or it's schedule driven or it's fluky or it's just they're not. Like this defense is rounding into form. And how long have we been saying? We said all at the beginning of the year, like if the defense could just round into form and get it, be average, the Chiefs are going to be, hard to beat. They're looking like maybe one of the best 3 or 4 or 5 defenses.
That's what I was going to say. Do I
They're
dare say
looking average? They're looking badass. They're looking great. I mean, they're swarming to the ball. That 4th down run, which look, that was a stupid ass play call on 4th down. Why do you pitch it 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage with like little blocking? But there were 5 Chiefs that swarmed to that play like instantly. And I mean, it's just, I don't know what has changed in their mentality or their scheme, whatever they've been doing. But I mean, it's just like, the guys are flying to the ball, and it's great to see. I mean, it's a thing of beauty.
Winning 8 straight will change your confidence a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's all it is, they feel like they can. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, you got Nick Bolton coming back this week.
Right.
So embarrass the Steelers, and the Steelers embarrass themselves a little bit. So a lot of fun. Good Sunday. Just a perfect ending to a long holiday weekend. Hope everybody enjoyed. Had a Merry Christmas out there watching the Kingdom Cast, Chiefs Kingdom. Let's shift gears here. Another NFC North opponent. The Cincinnati Bengals are up next Sunday. I believe that's a noon game in Cincinnati from the Natty. Joe Burrow and company. They've had some head scratchers, but they've also had some pretty impressive dominant performances where they looked really, really good. I put out there on the Kingdom Cast poll, kind of like how's Chiefs Kingdom feeling about this win? Very confident, not so confident, scared. And I think we ended up being like 57 or 60% of Chiefs Kingdom felt really confident, as you could be.
What was the lowest vote you got on that? Who's not feeling confident about this game? Was anybody not feeling confident about this game?
I think there was 1 or 2 people that had the not real confident, not the gritting teeth scared emoji that I put out there, not the lowest level, but and who knows, that could be people too, just scrolling through and tap. I'm pretty confident. Chiefs they've been hovering between a 4 and a 5 point favorite all week so far since the line's open. I say all week, the line's been open for 2 days now, but Chiefs are favored. Bengals, their Chiefs are on the road, but Patrick Mahomes is another, his record on the road is 26-4 or some shit like that. He's a road warrior. Chiefs have a really good road record the last few years under Andy Reid with Patrick Mahomes at the helm. How are you guys feeling about this game Sunday against the Bengals, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling confident. I think that this game is the key is going to be to try to pounce on them early and really just take the wind out of their sails. I think that if the defense can keep Burrow uncomfortable in the pocket, I've got some stats that we can throw up on the screen here in a bit, but they give up a lot of sacks. Our defensive line has really come together in the later part of the season, and if we can get him off his mark, he's not a real scramble first quarterback. So especially after his knee injury, which is unfortunate, nobody wants to see that happen, but it did happen. So I think that if you look at that, he's thrown one more pick than Mahomes. So if we can get to him, force some sacks, I think he turns the ball over, and I think that we'll get out to an early lead, and then it's really just pacing ahead of them. They're dangerous. They can put up a lot of yards when they're clicking, and so it's really just, can we really kind of take that hope away, steal their soul early in the game, and really just then it's kind of like just trying to run out the clock, really. So what do you think, Bo?
I think the Cincy's threat got inflated this week when they put up 41 points against whoever they were playing, the Ravens. The Chiefs lever brought it up. That was a depleted Ravens defense. So, you can't even really assume that was a real defense that they were playing against. And then if you watch any of those throws, they were 3 of those touchdowns were like complete Hail Marys that it was even like it was impressive that the receiver even caught the ball.
Right.
Just,
Jump balls.
so, I mean, they could do that to us. I kind of feel like our weak link is our secondary man-on-man coverage. So, I mean, if he gets some of those balls up in the air, who knows? But the way we're playing right now, I don't think so. Nick mentioned it earlier. We're just flying around. They look like they're having fun. Everybody's dancing on the sidelines. They got their swag back. I feel extremely confident that we're going to win this game. I feel like we're going to win out the rest of the season. I mean, man, that was it didn't seem like that when we first started this podcast, that's for sure. And now it's like it's right there. So like yeah, I feel like we could do this. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I feel real good about this game. The Chiefs are a better team than the Bengals. Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Joe Burrow. The Chiefs defense is better than the Bengals defense. Nick, you talked about Joe Burrow taking a lot of sacks. He's the most sacked quarterback in the NFL this year. How much of that is the line and how much of that is him taking bad sacks? It doesn't matter. He's the most sacked quarterback in the league. And the turnaround of this defense has really been attributed to the pass rush starting to get home, and Chris Jones and Frank Clark and Melvin Ingram and Jaren Reed and those guys getting in there and collapsing pockets, shoving the line back, not letting the quarterback stand back there and have 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds to find an open receiver. It's helping the corners cover, because the shorter amount of time you have to cover, the better. That to me is just a huge mismatch in the Chiefs' favor in this game. The fact that you've got a team that can rush the quarterback now, you can almost say that's been like the biggest reason for the defensive turnaround with the Chiefs. Oh, and by the way, just maybe is the biggest weakness on the Bengals offense. So I don't see Joe Burrow throwing 500 yards against this defense. I'll tell you that right now. They've got some okay guys. I saw Ryan Clark on the NFL show talking about Chiefs got more playmakers, or the Bengals have more playmakers than the Chiefs. I mean, I don't.
Huh?
I mean, their tight end's not better than Travis Kelce.
Who said that?
That was Ryan Clark, who is
yeah.
Who?
Patrick Mahomes' broken guy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, our tight end is better than their best tight end. Our best wide receiver is better than their best wide receiver. Their running back, he was talking about, like, he put Joe Mixon on there, like Joe Mixon is some sort of all-pro. The guy is average running back at best. I'll take Darrell Williams up against Joe Mixon. Looks like CEH might even play, depending on the swelling.
Yeah.
Meant to bring that up at the beginning and glossed over it, but no structural damage, no breaks for Clyde, so that's good to hear, man.
Good for him, man.
If you've watched this show, I've been critical of him. I'm not his biggest fan, so to speak, but never want to see anybody get injured.
Yeah,
he provides value to the team. He's out there and can make some plays. So, I mean, I don't think Joe Mixon is night and day, light years better than any running back on the Chiefs.
No.
And after their wide receiver, I can't even think of who their tight end's name is. They got Tyler Boyd. I mean, is Tyler Boyd light years ahead of Byron Pringle? I don't think so. So, kind of silly nonsense there. That's just more of teams wanting, wanting the Chiefs to lose, wanting the Bengals, the up and coming, the Cinderella team kind of this year that people have been pulling for to dethrone the king. I feel really good about the Chiefs winning this game, and if they pull out this win, there's no way they're gonna, if they even need to. Hopefully, we'll see the Dolphins do some work again for us here. Kind of shades of, I looked it up and I talked about in the episode there we did immediately after the Steelers game. So the Chiefs in the Super Bowl season, where they won the Super Bowl against the 49ers, they lost to the Tennessee Titans, then proceeded to go on a 13-game win streak that basically wrapped up with a Super Bowl championship. This year, Chiefs,
sounds familiar.
They can win out after their last loss of the season, 13 games with a Super Bowl after losing to the Tennessee Titans. Oh, and by the way, that year, the Dolphins ended up beating the Patriots, which gave the Chiefs the seeding to help get them the home AFC Championship game. Dolphins can go in and beat Tennessee this week, give the Chiefs an even more comfortable cushion to get that bye week and host the AFC Championship game again. Just seems like there's all these weird coincidences and all this stuff.
Right.
It's almost like the stars are aligning. I don't know if you use that term or not, but yeah, it's exciting. What is there anything that worries you though about this game against Cincinnati, Bo?
I mean, yeah, like I was saying, like our man-to-man coverage, you know what I mean? But I just don't see them having that same game against this defense. It's a completely different look. You know what I mean? I mean, they're a good team. Going to the Joe Mixon thing, I would kind of argue that the only thing he has better over any of our running backs is that he's named running back 1, and he's the running back 1, right? Like, other than that, that's the only thing he has over anybody. Otherwise, talent-wise, speed-wise, he's just on par with anybody else. He just has the title. But no, nothing.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
No, I was going to say the Chiefs have shut down better running backs than Joe Mixon. They shut down Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. They shut down Najee Harris against the Steelers on Sunday. Chiefs have shown that they can play good run defense against a good running back. Shut down better guys than Joe Mixon.
I mean, I don't think Chase is going to outrun our secondary by any means, but I think he has the ability to burn some people and get open.
He can make some plays.
But the way our pass rush is firing off right now. You mentioned him earlier, Jaren Reed, excuse me. That dude came up out of nowhere and has just been an animal. You know what I mean? Not out of nowhere, but like just has been performing at top levels. Really coming out for us. If we can get up there and disrupt him, I feel like Burrow is very similar to Carr. You know what I mean? He gets hit a couple of times, and he just starts making bad decisions, and then it's our game right there.
Yeah, I just think the only team that can beat the Chiefs in this game is the Chiefs. So I'm not worried. Right. When I was looking for some stats to pull together for the show today, I saw one of the betting sites, their simulation combined had the Chiefs winning like 32-13. And that made me feel even better. Which is crazy, but
yeah, right.
I could see it. I could see us, going in there and just dominating another opponent. I think that the Bengals, Burrow I think he's going to have a good career in this league, but he's not Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs have a lot to play for. They have the coaching advantage. They have the quarterback advantage. They are just playing lights out ball on all phases right now. So until we see otherwise, I'm not worried. Could they lose? Yeah, of course, any team can lose. The Texans were, a 3-win team with 20 players out on COVID and then stomped the Chargers. So, I mean, anything can happen, but anything typically doesn't happen to Patrick Mahomes led teams this time of year with stuff to play for. So.
Yeah, right. What do you think, Scott? Are you worried? You think we got this like hands down?
Yeah. I'm very confident. I think if the Chiefs played the Bengals 10 games, Chiefs probably beat them 8 or 9 times out of 10. So, you talk about Jamar Chase. He's a good player. He can make some big plays, but the Chiefs of CeeDee Lamb was no joke.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams on the Packers. Now, of course, that was without Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball to him. But Chiefs have shown the ability to hang it and cover and limit bigger names than him at wide receiver too. So, yeah, I just – and it's hard for him to get open downfield and make plays if Chris Jones and them are giving Joe Burrow 2 seconds to – I mean, as soon as he drops back, it's like, hey, let's all meet at the quarterback, right? So,
right.
To me, that's just such a huge advantage the Chiefs have in a mismatch in the game that they need to take advantage of.
Yeah.
The Chiefs need to get to Joe Burrow and make it a long day. And like Nick said, put some points on them early. And to me, a team like the Bengals, an up-and-coming team, they haven't been there and done that yet. So if you let them hang around it's like the boxing analogy. You let a guy hang around with the champ long enough, he starts to think maybe I can take the champ down. You get the Bengals down in a 17-0 hole early, or 17-3 or something like that hole early. Maybe they start to have a little bit of doubt, and maybe they think, oh well, we're not quite there yet. So I think those are two keys: getting up, early, asserting your dominance early, and also getting to the quarterback and making Joe Burrow uncomfortable.
Without walking it back too far, that's what I felt like in this Steelers game, man. As soon as they went up 17-0, you know what I mean? I kind of feel like, all right, we're in control of this one finally. They didn't let up either. It was I feel like we just got to bring the heat, do the same thing.
No doubt. Bengals got something to play for though too, that they can win their division still. So they're going to be coming out hungry. I don't think this is the Bengals year. I feel that the Chiefs are just the better team, and I feel by a fairly wide margin. I think you're seeing that in the betting lines too. Being favored by 5 on the road is a pretty healthy road number in the NFL. So we'll see what they can do out there. Playoffs, obviously, it's wild. I don't think I've ever seen it kind of this NFC. I think there's like one playoff spot or two up for grabs. And in the AFC, the Chiefs are the only team that have clinched a playoff spot, in the division. And there's this crazy playoff picture going on right now where literally we just played the Steelers, saw the NFC North. Literally the Ravens, the Bengals, the Steelers, or the Browns could all still win that division, depending on what goes on these next 2 weeks to finish up the season. Chiefs, they're in the one spot right now, obviously, and they control their destiny. But they're the only AFC team that's clinched that has a spot in the dance right now in the postseason. So, what do you guys think about this playoff race in the AFC? We got it going along the bottom there. Chiefs are in first, Tennessee's at 2, Cincinnati's at 3, Buffalo's at 4, Indy at 5, New England at 6. Miami Dolphins have snuck in that 7th seed as of now. They play Tennessee, which is a big game for seeding, and as far as we're concerned here in Chiefs Kingdom with the 1 seed. The Dolphins, if they can beat the Tennessee Titans, that gives us 2-game advantage. We don't even have to win this game. We can just beat the Broncos the last week of the season and still get the 1 seed. Dolphins, I also saw too, have a weird, they're the first team in NFL history with a 7-game losing streak and a 7-game winning streak in the same season.
It's crazy.
So that is crazy. That's pretty wild. How are you guys thinking the playoffs are looking here? Who are you thinking at this point? Who do you feel is going to make it?
What a wild playoff race, right? There's 13 teams in contention, like you said, and we're 2 weeks away from having it all decided. That's just nuts. I like everything about the way this is setting up for us, right? All the teams that were good and secured their dominance early have fallen off, or losing players, or trending down. They're not looking so great. You know what I mean? I just, like I was alluding to earlier, I don't see any team that can take down the Chiefs right now. I'm not seeing it in their play on the AFC wise. That's for sure. I don't see any team in the AFC taking us down. So this playoff picture, that's awesome. I think the worst we can get is 4th seed now. So, you don't get the bye week, but still just, 1st or 4th, I'll take that every year. I feel great about that. So,
right. Yeah. Nick, what do you think?
I see it holding up. The only team that I see in there that I think could blow it is the Colts, just because Carson Wentz has not been good, and they've been really just running that through their, Taylor's their running back, but Carson Wentz has not looked good from what I've seen. So I see that they could potentially, drop out, especially if you ride those backs, especially in a 17-game season. The guy's a rookie, could see some wear and tear start to show up here in his rookie year. Those guys are not used to this type of workload at this level. So outside of that, I think it's looking like it's probably going to maintain I like the Dolphins' chances of beating Tennessee. But of course I liked the 49ers' chances of beating Tennessee, and then Jimmy Garoppolo happened in the second half of that game. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs win this weekend and then they can rest their starters. That would be the greatest New Year's present to Chiefs fans, of course. But otherwise, I don't look. Do I think that Tennessee or Buffalo has it in them to beat the Chiefs twice in one season? I mean, I don't think so. I've said it before on previous episodes. I think that some of these teams that we lost to this year, we were kind of due for a loss because we beat them so many consecutive times. There's only so many consecutive times you can beat the same people. I mean, Manning and Brady went at it, and it's not like one beat the other every single time, right? And so they were bound to have some of these losses. It was unfortunate they all piled up at the same time and put the Chiefs in a hole, but they've now climbed out of that hole. They're sitting up top, and if the playoffs are in Kansas City, I mean, are you going to bet against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs against Carson Wentz or Josh Allen or, Ryan Tannehill, even with Derrick Henry? We've seen it happen already where we played him, and Derrick Henry was a non-factor in the second half of that game. The defense got to, shut it down, even though we fell behind by 10 points. So I really think that it's a favorable, picture for the Chiefs right now. Vegas agrees. I think that the Chiefs are back at number 1 odds to win the Super Bowl this year. I mean, they've been there. Patrick Mahomes has never not made the AFC Championship game in his career. He's never had a AFC Championship game in his career. He's never played a road playoff game. The guy is just that dude when it comes down to it. And so it's let's take all comers. Let's see what happens. You think you can do it? You got to beat the man to be the man. And I don't think any of those guys really have it when it comes down to it. So I'm feeling pretty confident, if you can't tell right now, about where we're at.
Yeah, I'm feeling good too. To me, I'm looking at I'm looking more so at who's not in than who's in at this point. The Chargers being out right now is, I think, a good thing because they played the Chiefs tough a couple of games. They beat us, obviously, in Arrowhead. They had us down at the end there in the second matchup. And you've also got that weird thing about trying to beat someone 3 teams in a year. I'm not saying I'm scared of the Chargers. The Chiefs would be favored. That game would be at home. I really don't see the Chiefs losing to the Chargers twice at home in the same season, one of those being in the playoffs. But to me, it's just you look at teams that have, like I said, that they have played the Chiefs tough twice this year. The Bills, I would like to avoid the Bills. The Bills came in and beat us at home this year. That was before the defense had kind of turned things around. But they got Josh Allen and Diggs and some decent players. So, again, I'm not saying I'm scared of the Bills. Oh, my God, I don't want to play anybody but the Bills. I'm not saying that. But when I'm looking at those teams that are either in or in the hunt, those are the 2 teams that I would prefer not to have to play again.
They gave us our toughest test we saw this year, right? Obviously, Tennessee would be in that conversation if they still had Derrick Henry, but
if they get Derrick Henry back.
Yeah.
But that team's a lot different than when they played us. A.J. Brown is back. I understand that now, but he's coming off of injury. Derrick Henry would be coming back off of injury. So they're, obviously can beat the Chiefs because they did, but
I haven't even looked into it. What are they saying about Derrick Henry? Do you know? Like, is he coming back?
What I've seen from him is like maybe last week of the regular season or the playoffs, he could be back.
Yeah.
And the dude's got – I know the Chiefs shut him down in that AFC Championship game 2 years ago, but he has the ability to take over a game and go into beast mode. And so
also just be a decoy too, right? Like, even if he doesn't do anything, you have to just put 1 or 2 guys extra on that guy.
Takes so much attention that, Brown can eat you up.
Right. But, maybe, hey, let's hope maybe – Pittsburgh can sneak in there somehow. We can play them again,
That'd be great.
Yeah, let's take a Miami Dolphins, Pittsburgh Steelers road to the Super Bowl. I know everybody wants to always say, iron sharpens iron, and we want to play the best matchup to get there. But
in the Super Bowl, not in the playoffs.
Yeah, in the playoffs. Yeah, no, I'll take. Hey, man, I'll take playing this. Let's get the 7 and the 4 sneak through somehow to advance and make the road a little bit easier. That happens. That's kind of what was disappointing about the Super Bowl last year. Loss to the Buccaneers was they were a wild card team that the Chiefs had beaten fairly handily during the regular season, and that just stings so bad. Not just, obviously losing the Super Bowl stings, but that was almost like, man, like they laid it up for the Chiefs right there. Team you beat already, that was a wild card team that knocked off the Packers for you in that NFC Championship game. Made that a little bit more of tougher pill to swallow, no doubt. So, yeah, we're coming down the stretch here. 2 games to go. Playoffs right around the corner. Be interesting to see what the weather looks like if the road to the playoffs goes through Arrowhead. We've been having 70-degree days here lately. I was outside in a Chiefs jersey on Christmas Eve at 10:30 at night.
It was 18 degrees today up here in Washington.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be switched.
Yeah, it should keep that up there, though. I'm good. I don't want to use 10-degree days down here. So, I don't know. Anything else you guys want to talk about? This Bengals game or playoff picture or?
I got a few stats we could throw up for the Bengals game if you guys want to. We've talked about some of them. So we got our keys to the kingdom here. How to force the Bengals back into their burrow. I apologize for not making that horrible.
Okay, take it down. Take it down.
Jeez, what are you, a dad?
Yeah, dad jokes. All right, so we got I'm going to be looking off camera here while I read this with my old eyes on the big screen. So offense sacks allowed. The Chiefs have only allowed 27 sacks, which is 1.8 per game. Bengals, as Scott said, worse than the league at 3.1 per game. They've allowed 47 sacks, so advantage to the Chiefs here. Defensive sacks. So the Chiefs, though, only have 26. Now, if you recall, we were the worst in the league to start out the season. So this stat may be a little misleading. If you were to look at the second half of the season, this would probably be a different story here. But the Bengals, they have 41 sacks, 2.7 per game. So they do have the advantage there throughout the season as far as defensive sacks. So offensive line play and defensive line play, I think, is really going to tell the story of this game when we get to the end here. I really wish we could get these Russian bots to quit putting comments through.
Or at least comment. Let's go, Brandon. Come on, quit.
Here. What the hell?
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, we got Beppa.
That's
here.
Russian for let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, I agree. Well put.
And now they know all of our social security numbers. So offensive interceptions, the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes has been intercepted 13 times, which is tied for 14th in the league. I just put that up to show that he was first. Now he's 14th, really. Bengals, Joe Burrow, really about the same, right? 14, which is tied for 6th. So there's quite a difference there between 13 and 14 is where you rank because of some ties there. So the Chiefs have the advantage there. Turnover differential also favors the Chiefs, right? So the Chiefs have climbed into a positive turnover differential, which I think is a huge story for this season because I think at one point we were negative 11. And so to be +3, top 10 in the league, and then the Bengals are down at 20th. So not taking care of the ball nearly as well as the Chiefs, not producing as many turnovers on defense. Points per game, also the Chiefs now they're a top 10 unit in points per game allowed, 20.4, which is 6th in the league. The Bengals are at 14th at 21.6. So the Chiefs have the advantage there. And then the hugest advantage, right? Last playoff victory for the Chiefs, January 24th of this year. The Bengals was January 6th of 1991. I have the asterisk there. So that's more than 2 years before the internet. Have you heard of that? Was made available for public use, which was April 30th of 1993. So I know that we can laugh at this. We've been there before as Chiefs fans, but we're not there anymore. So that advantage goes to the Chiefs. And really, this just goes to show like the kind of the mettle and the ability of our team to understand those big moments. I know that Burrow won a national championship, but he's never been in this position where it's like he's got to go against Patrick Mahomes and the reigning AFC champions to potentially secure a playoff spot. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, all of our big name people, Frank Clark, Chris Jones, they've all been there in games that mean 100 times more than this. And they've been able to succeed. So I think that this all plays out well for us. We just really have to protect Mahomes, get to Burrow, and I think that the rest of the game will kind of fall into place. So that's the keys of the kingdom this week.
Love it, dude.
Yeah, if Vegas is watching and they see that last playoff win stat, they might bump it up to 7 or 8 point favorite for the Chiefs. Go get your money, and if you want to place some money on the Chiefs, do it now before Vegas gets a hold of that nugget there and adjusts the line. Yeah, Chiefs got the advantage. I mean, everywhere they're the better team, and they got the better coach, they got the better quarterback, they got the better, skill position players. I'm sorry, the Bengals don't have a Travis Kelce, and they don't have a Tyreek Hill combo. So, the Chiefs should win this game. And I expect them
handedly
in this game.
Yeah. And then while we got the thing up, we do have a couple of memes of the week here. So
full screen these here
from Reddit. First one here, we're checking in with the Steelers, just checking in. So dude, I want a dragon. Be realistic. How about a decent first half? What color do you want your dragon?
Right.
And then, going to the Chargers was a little bit more depressing. It's like, dude, you guys okay? So these were their top memes. And then probably one of my favorites. I wish we could have the person that made this come on the show so I could congratulate them. But here we are, Mahomes with his. I knew he was a father. I didn't know that he had so many kids already. But
yeah, dude. If you're the Chargers, how do you lose that game to the Texans, man? They
had 20 players out with COVID. I didn't know that.
Right. I mean, how do you lose to the Texans B team or C team? Like that's unbelievable.
The Texans are a weird one, right? It just shows you they're like a COVID sweep away from being a decent team. Had they had a quarterback, man, they might actually be in contention.
Yeah, if they just had a decent quarterback on the team, they could have been, a factor maybe.
Although they're saying that they won as many games this year as they won with Deshaun Watson the year before.
Wow,
is that right?
Yeah, 4. They went 4-12, I think.
Could be.
The Chiefs broke them in that playoff game. They looked like they were going to kick the Chiefs' ass, and then let up 50 points, and that's all she wrote for the Texans.
Yeah, no, they did. Chiefs do that to teams, though. Did it to the Jaguars a few years ago when the Jaguars were coming off that AFC Championship game appearance the season before. And all the Jags defense, look out for the Jags defense, and all the Jaguars and Blake Bortles and all that. And Chiefs just spanked them, and they were never the same afterwards.
I think we did it to the Bengals.
Did it to the Bengals. The Bengals were up and coming in that one year, and the Chiefs smacked them down, and they weren't the same after that. The Texans in that playoff game. The Chargers,
Broncos,
you can't tell.
For the past 12 games.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sorry, you can't tell me that Chargers loss to the Texans doesn't have something to do with that demoralizing loss at home to the Chiefs the week before.
Yeah, completely.
There was definitely a hangover effect for the Chargers in that game, which we kind of talked about in the episode we did post-Chargers game last week, heading into the Steelers game, was how is that going to affect the Chargers? And I think we got our answer. It did not, Did not go well for them.
Well for them. Yep.
Not at all. Not at all. But yeah, well, unless you got something else you want to talk about, I guess we can jump out of here.
Yeah, before we get out of here real quick, I just have to give a shout out to my Squirrel Pack Fantasy League. We wrapped up on Sunday, and this is probably the most abysmal winning record you will see, but your boy Bo pulled it off and got the victory in the playoffs, squeaked in that last place, and dominated.
Nice.
Congrats, Bo.
Nice.
Feels good. It's the first time I've won fantasy in like a decade, so feels great.
Congratulations.
I played Ashley in the final, actually.
Oh, man.
We've been kind of giving all these props to Miami. I selected Miami's defense, and they tore it up. Got me 29 points and secured that victory for me.
That's I don't know if that's really a victory or not, Bo, for you.
Like I said, I haven't won in a decade. I'll take it, man.
How do you win and lose at the same time?
Right.
Go 5-8 and win in fantasy. That's how.
Right. Yeah. No. Thanks for the comment, Ashley. Good to see you in the chat there. Hope you're doing well up there. Miss y'all. Can't wait to see you guys again here, hopefully soon. So, going to get on out of here, I think. Bengals Chiefs, big game Sunday at noon in from the Natty. Chiefs are 5-point favorite. They're in the driver's seat. We're right where you want to be this time of season. 2 games to go. Everything's right there in front of you. You don't need any help. You don't need the scoreboard watch, anything like that. Just take care of business, and you're going to be right where you want to accomplish all the goals. They say at the beginning of the year, right? Their goals are always to get through the season healthy, win the division, get the 1 seed. It's all right there. It's in their grasp, and it's in their control. So, I'm not sure. We might try to do I don't have to work Friday. I don't know what you guys are doing. We might do a picks episode here and pick some games and maybe give a score prediction on the Chiefs-Bengals game. I don't know what your guys' schedule is looking like Friday or Saturday, but might be able to swing something like that. So we appreciate everybody that joined us and sent us some comments, even the Russian bots. Glad to have you. Hey, man, that counts as a view. So we'll take it at this point. So
you can invite 100,000 more of your friends along.
Yeah, exactly. No doubt. We just glad to have everybody watching, everybody views the show, sends us comments, all of our new followers and subscribers and people, out there on social media. We're glad to have you. We started this off as fun, never expected anybody else to really watch, so we think it's pretty cool that there's some people that want to, think and listen to what we have to talk about for football games. But before we get out of here, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you haven't done so already. Tell your friends, tell your family, and until then, let's go Chiefs.
Let's go Chiefs.